Hello again, Chris Lee of Southeastern 14 here to talk some SEC baseball from late Friday night. We did a live stream Friday early night, I guess you'd put it, on the, what was it, 8 SEC games that had been completed to that point in time. We had 3 more we hadn't wrapped up because they were still well in progress at that point. Those were games involving Tennessee, Mississippi State, Alabama. I'll get to those momentarily, give you some things we learned from those games and some takeaways going forward, and then set the table for Saturday's matchups. Before we do that, we remind you, BetOnline, your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, the NBA, and NHL playoff stats. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to get in on all the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Well, I will start with the most exciting of the 3 games, and that was Mississippi State's win over St. John's. And I thought Mississippi State was going to walk off St. John's when Amani Larry hit a home run to left center, and St. John's left fielder had some other ideas, reached over the wall, took that away, and sent the game to extra innings. And this was just a pitching duel from the go. Both starters for both teams went deep into the game. Cal Steven, as he's done so many times this year, went deep into the game for Mississippi State. He went 8 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, struck out 10, and then Tyler Davis came on in relief, one of several good relievers that the that the Mississippi State Bulldogs have there. And he pitched very well, gave them 2 innings of scoreless relief. And this game goes into the 10th inning, and Dakota Jordan, who has just been in a slump to end all slumps, got pulled in the SEC tournament at one point. A first-round pick who just cannot hit anything of late, gets down 0-2, and what does he do? He launches a home run the opposite way to right field, scores 3 runs. The Bulldogs walk off St. John's, and really what was a terrific night of baseball. You saw a lot of walk-off games. You saw one in Chapel Hill. You saw one earlier today in Athens, I guess it was Chapel Hill when LSU won a game. A lot of walk-offs yesterday, and that one of the more dramatic ones, and I think the storyline just enhanced because of the struggles Dakota Jordan had. He was 0 for 4 coming into that at-bat with 3 strikeouts. Hunter Hines also hadn't hit. I think he was on base. He wasn't on base. He'd gotten a hit, I think, in the 9th to give State a chance, and they couldn't cash in, but he's been slumping too. Here's the point I'm getting at. State's maybe best 2 hitters have just been struggling mightily, Hines and Jordan. And sometimes good teams are the ones that can win without your best players playing well. And I think that's a sign from Mississippi State. I guess you can look at this 2 ways. One way is that you got to get more out of those guys, and everybody knows that. State's not going to win a national title or anything with Hines and Jordan not hitting well. But State's got enough elsewhere. The offense hasn't been great without them, but they've been getting just enough because that pitching has been so good. And again, Cal Steven, who just has been a rock, probably one of the 5 most consistent pitchers in the league in a good way, gets them near the finish line, and Dakota Jordan finishes that one off. All right, in Knoxville, this one went about as I expected. I might have seen a little bit more offense coming, but hey, 9 runs, not too bad. Tennessee wins a 9-3 game against Northern Kentucky, gets home runs from Billy Amick, Dreiling and Hunter Ensley. But the story is almost always in these things is pitching. And AJ Causey, who, again, he's not a starting pitcher because he usually comes in relief, but he basically is a starter. Sometimes he does start, but usually he comes in first, second, third inning and just does what he does, which is span multiple innings and bring Tennessee that bridge between whoever opens the game and whoever closes it. In this case, it was Chris Stamos, the opener, Kirby Connell, the guy who closed it with 2 scoreless innings. In between, Causey goes 6 2/3, gives up 2 runs, both those earned, strikes out 9, gives up 4 hits to a Norse lineup that can really hit. So AJ Causey, again, we talk about pitchers who have been rocks for their particular teams. Causey, one of those guys, and really what he did, you don't want to see, and this is the same thing for Mississippi State. You don't want to start throwing all your best relievers out there on day one to try to win your opener on Friday. Both State and Tennessee preserve some of their better arms. Now, for Tennessee, one caution. AJ Russell, we learned, is not on the 27-man roster. Didn't pitch great in Hoover. He's maybe their most talented arm. Sounds like he's not going to be used in a regional. Well, he won't be. He's not on the roster. But here's what I'm getting at. Tennessee with the pitching available, and I think you kind of built in the expectation that maybe Russell wasn't going to be available, or at least you suspected it. And the Vols didn't really go out and just use a ton of arms, which will keep them fresher with their matchup tonight with Indiana. The SEC's disappointment, one of two teams that lost on opening day of the NCAA tournament. One was Vanderbilt, the other one was Alabama. At least Alabama's was close. UCF wins this one 8-7. For Alabama, we've been saying you need to get the good version of Greg Ferrone. And lately, we've gotten the bulky version of him. That's what Alabama got. He gave up 6 runs, all those earned in 4 innings. The bullpen did a pretty good job of keeping Alabama close in this one. But Alton Davis, who was in there at the end, gave up the winning run. For Alabama, it gets home runs from Justin Lebron, Kade, Snell, and TJ McCants. All right, let's set the stage for today. In the morning, you've got a couple of losers bracket games, Vanderbilt and High Point in the Clemson Regional, Alabama and Stetson. Neither of those are easy 4 seeds, so Alabama and Vandy could both be going home today. I presume Vanderbilt will throw Bryce Cunningham, and Alabama, I think they'll probably go with the freshman in this one whose name escapes me at the moment. I'll know it if you say it, but it's not in front of me. In any case, apologies for that, Alabama fans. But you know who I'm talking about. But in any case, Alabama and Vandy up against elimination. Then we got some really terrific potential matchups tonight. Well, they are matchups at this point, except for one. Arkansas still waiting to see who it'll play. Mississippi State and Virginia, LSU, North Carolina. These are 2 games that I circled before the start of the tournament as potential Saturday winners bracket matchups that I thought would be tremendous. We get both those. LSU tonight will throw Holman, I believe. UNC is not a pitching-heavy staff, but those guys can really hit, and they got a grand slam walk-off last night to sink Long Island, which had just gone ahead with the grand slam in the previous top of the 9th inning to put North Carolina's season in a little bit of peril. So we get the 2 games we've been waiting for. St. John, I presume, will throw for Mississippi State against a really good hitting Virginia lineup. We get Tennessee and Indiana. Indiana played some long ball in a seeding upset of Southern Miss yesterday. Kentucky, in a seeding upset, gets Illinois, which knocked off Indiana State. I presume we get Trey Poozer there for Kentucky. Georgia, it goes up in a winner's bracket game against Wilmington in this one. Pitching going to be a struggle for the Dogs, but boy, those guys can hit. Arkansas against to be determined. I guess that'll probably be Louisiana Tech. That game got rain delayed, and I think Tech had a lead in that one. Texas A&M and Texas could be a sneaky good game. Aggies have kind of, I'm not going to say limped to the finish line, but they're not playing the ball they were a month ago. And Texas really waxed a good Louisiana club last night. So be interesting to see if Texas is caught on to something there. We've got Florida presumably throwing Jack Caglione against an Oklahoma State team that I think is probably one of the best 5 or 6 teams in the field. And then we've got North Carolina State and South Carolina. South Carolina, with Cole Messina's heroics, ended up in a walk-off win yesterday. Messina didn't walk it off, but sent it to extra innings where Carolina was able to get it in 10. All right, we'll be back to react to these. I'm going to guess either late Saturday night or maybe early Sunday morning. Best way to get our reactions, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'm Chris Lee. We are Southeastern 14, presented by BetOnline.